hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornic, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Kråkast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I'll talk about it. This week's game is Pac-man. It was originally called Pac-man in Japan, and it was released in 1980, and it's a maze game. Developed by Konami and published by Konami. Depending on the version, it can also be Tengen, but yeah. And no spoilers up ahead, just so you know. But first, a little backstory. This game I played on emulator just to try it out once, and I put it down because I didn't like it. So I don't really know why, but I'm revisiting it this week. So when you start up the game, you can select between 1 and 2 players. And if you let the intro run a bit, you will be introduced to the ghosts that haunt you in this maze. So you have the red one called Shadow or Blinky. You have the lilac or pink one called Speedy or just Pinky. And then you have the blue one, which is called Bashful or Inky. And then you have the brown one, Pokey, or also called Clyde. But I think there's something wrong with the color palette. I believe that Pokey is supposed to be yellow, but he's brown for some reason. Yeah. So the first level is pretty much every level. It just scales up. So it's just a black background with blue borders for a maze. So you are Pac-Man, a yellow ball, collecting smaller balls. So the small balls give you 10 points, and the big ones, which also make you make the ghost afraid of you, so you can eat them or send them back to their pen. Those pellets, the bigger ones, give you like 50 points. So I believe the different ghosts have different patterns. I haven't not verified that, but there's also a thing with this maze. There are some blind spots. If you enter a certain area from a certain point, the ghost will never enter that part of the screen for some reason. There are like 4 blind spots, I believe, on this, at least on the NES version. So if you collect all the pellets in one maze, you will automatically get to the next stage. And between some of the levels, there is like a cutscene where Pac-Man is chased by the ghosts, and then he gets a big pellet and he chases the ghost backwards out of the screen or whatever. And also, if you collect 10,000 points, you will automatically earn an extra life. I haven't done so because I suck at this game. And I don't know if you come across, but I don't like this game at all. It's, I don't know, I'll get to it in the end, I guess. So directly under the pen where the ghost kind of spawns, there is an item you can pick up, varying from like cherries, apples, and other things like a bell and whatnot. It depends on which level you're playing, and you get more points as you progress through the game. And the funny thing about this, the NES game, at some point, I think it's like level 23 or something, it just spawns like a blue key. And it's like that thing with arcade games, I talked about it before, mostly revolve around food and picking up like different stuff. But for some reason, they decided like, hey, this round puck guy wants to collect bells and keys. Also, I don't know, I think that's kind of funny. Just as any arcade game, at the end or the end levels, things speed up, and it's crazy how fast the ghosts move. So for some reason, I'm not very good at maneuvering Pac-Man at all, so I mostly get trapped in a corner, or the ghosts kind of swarm me, or swat me. Maybe swat me is a better term. So also, when you progress the game, the invisibility frames, which you get from eating the bigger pellets, get shorter. So it's kind of ludicrous. It just at the beginning, it's like you have plenty of time to eat the ghost and send them back to their pen, but at the end levels you get like 1 or 2 seconds, and it's like it's not even useful. I don't know. So gameplay: help Pac-Man eat all the num-nums as much as possible for points, and yeah, that's about it. Avoid the ghosts. Control: the D-pad moves Pac-Man around, and that's about it. Graphics: black background and blue borders for the maze. That's about it. It has a colorful like palette, but for some reason one of the ghosts, the later one, is supposed to be yellow, I think, in the arcade version, but he's brown. I don't know. It's something messed up with the palette, as I said before. Sound and music: Toshio Kai and Higeshi Isamura made the soundtrack or the tracks for this game. And for some reason in gameplay there's only sound effects, and they are obnoxious. I had to turn down the volume on my TV because it's like Pac-Man gets really loud and annoying, and I don't know. There's something about those sound effects that I don't like. Easter eggs, secrets, and glitches. The NES version has a thing which it does when you reach like 10 million points, minus 1 point. So lots of nines, the counter just resets to 0 again. So I don't know, it's something about, but you have to play like a ludicrous amount of levels to even get there. So it took like a tool assisted program 10 hours and 45 minutes to even get that. So it's like even 836 levels or something, which is crazy. Not a human can do this, I think. It's like and at the end everything goes crazy fast as well. So yeah, and there's something about the arcade game. I didn't look this up, but I know that once you reach a specific like level in the arcade, it's like 256 or something, the whole screen starts to glitch out. And I think that's due to the limitation of memory or something, because when you count like bytes or integers and flows and whatnot, I know somewhat of programming, but when certain variables can only go to a specific number, and then it doesn't know what to do, I guess, and it just glitches out the screen. And it's kind of a cool thing. Check it out on YouTube if you can. In conclusion, I wrote no, but pick it up, try it. So I don't like Pac-Man. I don't like him at all. I know it's a classic game, but I don't like Pac-Man. So I reached out to Billie Holiday, which is another podcaster on the Retrovaniacs podcast, for a comment on Pac-Man, because I know that he doesn't like Pac-Man Land or something like that, but he didn't even answer the question on the Discord channel, which I thought was fun. His colleague and co-host, one of the Jeremys, I think it was Jeremy P, he replied like, well, Billy doesn't like Pac-Man at all, it's not his thing, or Klaus or whatever he said. So I was like, yeah, if you don't even make a comment about how bad the game is, then it's really bad. And I agree with him 100%. This game is loud and obnoxious, and it doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. I know it defined a genre, and it's one of the oldest classics, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. So I don't think I'm stirring up like a beehive by saying that I don't like the game necessarily, but people have strong opinions on the internet, and they will let you know if you are wrong. I learned that much during my YouTube career. And also, as I talked about before, the sounds that play the SFX like during gameplay is very, very loud, and I had to turn down the volume of my TV because it was obnoxious. And it would have been nice if you could like have an option to turn off the sound effects altogether. I don't think you can do that on the NES version, at least. And it would have been nice to have like a chirpy kind of music play instead of Pac-Man going as he does when he picks up his pellets and food and whatnot. So I don't recommend this game, period. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.